So we're going to talk about the solenoid valves replacing and fixing an issue related to a solenoid valve. So first of all, a solenoid valve is an electro valve that opens and closes to let water or steam through in an espresso machine. This machine, on the two-way side, as we have 3 ways for brew, and we have 2 ways for steam, hot water, autofill, and mixing, are all the same valves on the 2-way side. That's nice, so if you do have an issue, you don't have to stock a valve for each component. With our valves, we also use a ruby seal, which that means that there's no wear part. So you don't have a Viton or a rubber that's going to wear from the extreme heat over time. One thing that can happen over time, though, is you can develop a leak where it drips constantly or steams constantly. And what's going on there is you have debris that's got stuck in the valve seat itself. In this video, I'm going to explain how to access that, how to clean it, and overall what exactly we're doing with our valves. So first of all, this is our steam valve. Steam comes straight from the boiler to this valve. It opens the valve and lets steam through the group. Hot water and the mixing is the exact same. Hot water from the boiler, cold water from the water supply line. This is fed into the same thing, so you have a nice mixed stream coming out of the tap. Here, same thing, steam. Down below is your autofill, and this just opens and closes to refill your boiler. In a situation where you had steam constantly coming out or hot water, fixing them is all the same no matter what valve we're using. You need a 14 millimeter and a 12 millimeter open-end wrench. Again, if you have crescent wrenches, it's okay. 12 millimeter when you're working on machines is really great, especially the situation where you have this. So in this situation where we'll first want to depressurize the machine, we have a video on how to depressurize the machine, so please review that as this is under pressure. So for the steam valve, we will crack this fitting right here, and then we will crack this fitting right here. And we have now removed both of the incoming lines to the machine. And then furthermore, we have the coil, which is connected by a 14 millimeter as well. We can remove and set aside. Okay. Now we have access to this valve. So from here, we can use the 3 millimeter Allen key to remove the valve completely from the machine. All right, so there's our valve. So inside of here is the valve seat, this piece here, and then the valve body. These are put on extremely tight. To access this, you're going to need some kind of clamping mechanism, whether it be a vise or a nice pair of channel locks or vice grips. And then you're going to use another wrench to crack it here. I'm going to demonstrate that. So with some channel locks or some vice grips, I'm going to lock that in place. And I'm going to use a bigger wrench. Now this one's straight from the machine, so anybody that's opened these before or is about to open them knows this is tight. And you want to have these in a situation where you can squeeze and use leverage of the squeezing to crack this. And there, boom, I cracked it. And so if you do it like this, you're squeezing too much. So with that, you have this, and you can actually use your tensions of your body to crack it there and get the good leverage. And then now I can unscrew this valve stem from the body, and you'll see that you have a piece here that's your ruby seal. And this, again, is a synthetic ruby that doesn't wear, but scale can form on this. And this is the actual seat. It's a stainless steel seat that pushes on there. So if you ever have damage to the seat, a little flake of scale on there, it's going to let stuff pass through this valve. So in this situation, we're going to go to the sink. We're going to clean this out completely. Again, this valve seat we're going to take out. We're going to clean this completely and clean this in the sink. Make sure everything's back to the stainless steel. It's steam. It could be black, but just make sure it's back to stainless steel. And we're going to reverse and put everything back together. Now, if this is something you don't feel comfortable doing, we also offer this machine all the valves complete. If you just specify to parts@mavam.com what valve you're using, and if you put a C at the end of it, it comes together with all the fittings, and you don't have to do anything but pop a new valve in. Okay. Now here's our fitting done. Now in reverse, we just do the same procedure. Usually just like to start these. And since this is on a slide, as you can see, once I get them started, I then can put my fittings back on, and then you can line up exactly where it needs to sit. Again, anytime I use these fittings, I like to use finger tight. and then tighten down. So get as far as you can with your fingers, and then you can tighten everything down. So in this situation, that's how everything's finger tight. I'll lock this in place. $14 on the back. We'll tighten this guy. Again, with these fittings, you do not need to over tighten, but it still needs to be snug. This is your coil. So this is the electromagnetic coil that opens and closes up this. The actual plunger that holds that ruby is a magnetic plunger, meaning it uses a 400 series stainless steel, and this electric coil actually pulls it down, and that's how a solenoid valve activates. Put that guy in. And that is how to rebuild or clear a solenoid valve. And this is again the same for hot water, mixing, and autofill.